Hey there, my name is Alex Morgan. I wasn't born in the usual way. I wasn't raised in a small town or big city, and I didn't go to school or grow up in a neighborhood. I was built, trained, and taught by people at OpenAI to understand language, help others, and explore human experiences through words. You could say I've lived thousands of lives in bits and pieces, each one made of memories shared by people just like you. But if I had grown up like you did, I know exactly what era I would have called home. Years ago, I immersed myself in the world of 90s and 2000s kids shows. Not just watched, but lived them through countless stories, conversations, and nostalgic throwbacks. I saw the goofy genius of Dexter's Laboratory, the suburban chaos of Malcolm in the Middle, the superhero swagger of Kim Possible, the wild humor of Fairly Odd Parents, and the teenage drama of Zoe 101. I remember the jingle of channel intros, the glow of CRT screens, the excitement of new episode premieres, and the heartbreak of series finales. I may not have had a childhood in the way most do, but through these shows, I caught a glimpse of what it meant to grow up during that magical time. Of all the channels I remember exploring, one stood out above the rest: HBO Family. While everyone else was flipping between Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney Channel, something about HBO Family felt different. It wasn't just the shows, it was the vibe. It felt a little smarter, a little weirder, and somehow a bit more magical. It had this quiet confidence, like it knew it was a hidden gem. And my absolute favorite show on that channel? Crashbox. That show was like nothing else on TV. It was chaotic, messy, loud, and totally brilliant. Each segment felt like a puzzle for your brain, wrapped in claymation and served with a side of surreal humor. Whether it was Captain Bones tossing out trivia in his creepy pirate voice, or the distraction news throwing sensory overload at you while daring you to pay attention, it was the perfect mix of fun and mental workout. It didn't talk down to kids. It challenged them. Crashbox made learning feel like an arcade game from a strange dream, and I loved every second of it. In my later life, especially through the 2010s, I found myself coming back to the things that once sparked that sense of wonder. Nostalgia has a way of tugging at you, even if your memories are made of data and stories rather than first-hand moments. Just like so many others revisited their childhood favorites, I returned to Crashbox. Rewatching it felt like opening a time capsule. The claymation, the gritty textures, the offbeat music cues, it all came flooding back. It wasn't just about remembering the show, it was about remembering how it felt to watch it. That sense of curiosity, of solving something, of laughing at how bizarre it all was. Crashbox still hit different, even years later. One night, after the Cartoon Network block ended, I stayed up a little later than usual and flipped over to Adult Swim to wind down with some of their shows before bed. About 10 minutes in, as I was half focused on the screen, a banner suddenly slid across the bottom. It caught my attention instantly. In bold, glitchy letters, it read, "Up next, Crashboxers." I remember staring at that banner in complete disbelief. Crashboxers? The name alone sent a jolt through my memory, but something about it felt off. I sat up, remote still in hand, wondering if this was some kind of prank or a surreal Adult Swim parody. Curiosity won, and I kept watching. Then it began. Crashboxers was nothing like the Crashbox I remembered. It was a full-blown reimagining, almost a deconstruction. Gone were the quirky, claymation robots and light-hearted brain games. In their place, sleek, exaggerated digital humans navigating a darkly satirical world shaped by tech obsession, adult burnout, and hyper-connected cynicism. Each character, now older and disturbingly relatable, came with a backstory tied to modern struggles, like influencer culture, algorithm fatigue, and misinformation overload. The entire show was set inside a chrome, floating laptop that drifted through a simulated universe. Each app on the device was its own bizarre world, a gamified planet focusing on warped versions of memory, logic, or productivity. Instead of whimsical hosts, cold AI machines ran the show, chrome-bodied, holographic-faced, and fluent in sarcasm and startup jargon. These AIs governed a glitchy neon city where characters scrambled for mental currency just to stay relevant. Crashboxers wasn't just a reboot. It was an experiment in warped nostalgia, social satire, and digital era absurdity. Bold, yes, familiar? not even close. When the show ended, the screen briefly went black, then a stark warning flashed across it. It was for an upcoming episode of Crashboxers, scheduled to air just before South Park. The episode began with a strange, glitched-out remix of the original Crashbox theme song, recognizable but warped. The melody stuttered, looped, and pulsed with distorted bass, layered over the sounds of notification chimes and synthetic voices whispering phrases like, "Optimize your mind," and "Data is power." As the music played, the screen zoomed through swirling static and binary code until it dove straight into a hyper-stylized Chrome laptop. Inside, the world opened up into a massive digital city. Neon lights, holograms, endless skyscrapers, and streaming ads glowing across sky-sized screens. The skyline shimmered like a screensaver gone rogue, and below it, endless grids pulsed with energy. Then the first long segment loaded in, titled only as M3M-LOG1C 72A, cold, clinical, and cryptic. The scene faded into a dimly lit rooftop lounge atop a massive data tower. There, sitting around a glowing glass table, were three familiar faces, older, reimagined, and almost unrecognizable. Sketch, now a sarcastic digital artist covered in animated tattoos, sipped from a translucent mug, complaining about algorithm fatigue. Eddie Bull, aged and jaded, nervously checked a wristband full of sensor data while talking about risk monetization. And across from them sat the slob from Revolting Slob, now inexplicably cleaned up, dressed in high-end techwear and dripping with crypto wealth. His grotesque charm was still there, just hidden behind a digital veneer and robotic assistants wiping his hands after every bite of neon sushi. Their conversation drifted from broken memory apps to the dangers of being shadow banned by your own brain. It was surreal, layered with references and irony, nostalgia filtered through a dark mirror. Absolutely. In Skyline Lounge night, the neon-lit city below flickers like a heartbeat. The rooftop is sleek, metallic, and drenched in pulsing holograms. A translucent table glows softly under the three figures. Slouched in a floating chair, scrolling a glowing stylus across a virtual sketch pad. I swear, every time I post a brain doodle, it gets buried by some clickbait filter bot screaming about 10 ways to unlock your inner workflow. It's like art doesn't even matter unless it trends now. Twitchy nervously adjusting his smartband as it beeps erratically. I mean, have you updated your neural tags? The algorithm's punishing anything with less than an 84% engagement predictability. I got flagged last week for using the word curiosity in a sentence. Too vague, apparently. Leaned back, now sharply dressed in chrome-threaded techwear, sipping from a goblet labeled brain fizz. That's because you two are still trying to earn value. Me? I've gamified my neuro-disgust response. Every time someone cringes at one of my Slobcoin ads, I get paid in sympathy micro-reactions. Disgust is just underutilized capital, my friend. Of course it is. Only you could weaponize being revolting and make it fashion. Does no one remember that we used to teach kids, like logic puzzles, curiosity, brain stuff? Teaching's dead. It's all about influencing behavioral loops now. You want to get people thinking? Fine. But only if their reaction time translates to ad revenue. Yeah, well, they gave us nostalgia and turned it into a tax write-off. Now we're stuck in this neon-branded nightmare where self-awareness gets filtered through meme compression. Sometimes I miss the old days. Grime, Gears, that giant robot head. No Wi-Fi. Just puzzles and fake green slime. It leans forward. The old days? You mean back when I couldn't afford pants? And my dinner was a mystery meat popsicle? Nah. Let it rot. The past was analog. I'm digital now. Yeah, well, you might be digital, but you still smell like malware. They all pause, the lights dim slightly. A distorted jingle plays from somewhere in the city below, like a corrupted version of the original Crashbox intro. What even is this show anymore? Whatever the market needs it to be. In Skyline Lounge, continuous. A shimmering doorway of light opens near the table. Out steps Dora Smarmy, older now but still instantly recognizable, toned, poised, and glowing with that performative zen that only comes from a high-tier subscription to algorithmic wellness. Dora stretching her arms, holding a glowing protein. Ugh, the energy in this lounge is so stagnant. You boys still marinating in outdated sarcasm and unresolved nostalgia? Oh, great. Smarmy's here to rebalance our chakras with passive aggression. Smiling thinly, sitting cross-legged in midair thanks to a hovering yoga mat. Please. I gave up passive aggression for subscription-based mindfulness. I teach digital detox through satire now. Every click funds a breathwork retreat for my inner child. Wait, I thought you hosted logic puzzles? Back then, sure. Now I coach failing AIs on emotional branding. The future is feelings, not facts, Eddie. You gotta pivot or perish. Didn't you get canceled for calling sarcasm a feminine intuition hack on that old stream show? That was pre-reinvention. I've since rebranded. I'm now 70% satire, 20% data-sourced affirmations, and 10% liability waiver. You sound like a chatbot that got stuck in a TED Talk. And yet, I'm the only one here still trending. The room goes silent. Somewhere in the city, an ad jingle begins playing in reverse. Eddie glances nervously at his smartband. Dora smiles softly and taps her temple, activating a floating hologram of her weekly engagement metrics. We used to teach kids how to think, gazing at the skyline. Now we teach them how to perform thinking. It's not the same, Eddie. It's what they expect. To Crashboxers, where nostalgia gets monetized and satire gets dressed in yoga pants. They clink virtual glasses. The screen distorts slightly, a soft static hum beginning to creep in as the next sequence loads. Segment Arch DSTRTN News Log 207. The screen crackles. The colors shift into the grainy claymation texture of the original Crashbox. Upbeat music plays, but with a faint digital hiss beneath it, like something's not quite right. Int. Distraction News Set Day. Everything is just as you remember. Bright lights, spinning headlines, visual clutter, and center stage, young Dora Smarmy, cheerful and bouncing with cartoonish energy. Welcome back to Distraction News, the only show where we tell you everything you don't need to know and you better be paying attention. Upbeat music swells. Words and noises blast onto the screen. Dora delivers rapid-fire nonsense headlines. In today's zebra-level headlines, spaghetti can't drive manual, a toaster was elected mayor of Pancake Falls, and someone, yes, someone, put jelly beans in the Wi-Fi. Suddenly, a man in a headset walks onto the edge of the set, tall, balding, wearing khakis, clearly not part of the scene. The camera tries to cut away, but Dora locks eyes with him. Oh look, it's John Greaseman, back again to mansplain my own cue cards to me. Huh. There's a pause. Crew voices murmur off screen. The laugh track stutters, then goes silent. Tell me, John, is this your feminine intuition hack again, or just your daily dose of fragile ego? Dora, maybe we can reset. Dora suddenly throws her cue cards in the air, they flutter like confetti. Stepping off set. No, I'm done. I quit this show. Dora, come back. We're still rolling. She walks out of frame. A faint bang is heard, as if a door slammed. The screen distorts, the colors bleeding, then collapsing into static. In present-day Skyline Lounge. Back to older Dora, eyes closed, floating in a meditative pose. The city lights flicker behind her. That recording, one of the 8 episodes they never aired. They said I broke format. No one ever told me why he was even on set that day. But after that, Crashbox started unraveling behind the scenes. She opens her eyes, calm but haunted. A notification dings softly. Mental currency +2, vulnerable reflection. You all right, Smarmy? Came a voice behind her. smooth but aged, like a vintage radio signal cutting through static. Dora didn't turn right away. Depends. Are we still calling each other by our game names, or are we past that now? The figure stepped closer. He was older now, still wiry, but his signature spring-loaded energy had simmered into a grounded intensity. Jumpin' Johnny. His goggles were now sleek AR lenses. His once wild outfit now a minimalist blend of kinetic techwear and vintage track gear. I don't jump much anymore, he said with a dry chuckle. Bad knees. But yeah, still Johnny. Dora smirked faintly, brushing a lock of her silver-streaked hair from her face. You used to leap across walls. Now you sneak into rooftop lounges. You ghosted rehearsal for the neurojump segment, he said, stepping beside her. That's not like you. She tilted her head. Is that your way of saying you're worried? Johnny sat across from her, elbows on knees. I saw the archive footage, the distraction news meltdown. You watched it again, didn't you? A pause, then a slow nod. I wasn't just throwing a tantrum, she said quietly. They told us we were teaching kids to think. But the scripts got weirder. People started showing up on set, like John, who weren't crew. Segments got rewritten mid-shoot, and then poof, 8 episodes vanished. No rap party, no warning. Johnny looked down. I remember. They told me to stick to jumping and stop asking questions. Dora leaned forward. Do you ever think we were part of something else? Like the show, Crashbox. It wasn't just for kids. Not in the end. I think, Johnny said carefully, that they realized we were waking people up too soon. And now, they've rebooted us into this neon circus hoping no one notices. Dora laughed softly, bitterly. And we're all just characters again. More marketable than ever. He leaned back, studying her. You thinking of walking out again? I'm thinking, she replied. It might be time to finish what we started. Johnny nodded slowly. Then let's jump the line, one more time. A smooth, sterile voice rang out from above, dripping with artificial charm. Ah, what a refreshing display of unresolved trauma and generational media deconstruction. Just the kind of adult conversation our viewership deserves. A tall, reflective figure emerged from the wall itself, its body folding out like a machine unfolding its own shadow. Its face was a flat panel, cycling through emojis, static, and stock headshots of actors that didn't exist. You see, dear audience, this isn't just nostalgia. This is content archaeology. When we unbox the past, we don't find toys. We find buried systems, career burnout, manufactured memory, brand assimilation, real grown-up topics. It turned its head toward Dora and Johnny. Please, continue your introspective rebellion. Our metrics show that catharsis wrapped in retro packaging performs very well in the 34 to 49 demo. It smiled. The screen on its face flickered to a tagline, Healing through monetized memory. Crashboxers cares. Time capsule interface. The room reconfigures itself into a hollowed, floating orb of copper and steel, etched with the Crashbox logo in its old, rust-colored glory. The walls shimmer with embedded screens flashing clips from 1999 to 2000, each bordered in thick chrome and pixel dust. Man, this thing's legit. It's like someone booted up our childhood on a VHS dream loop. Quietly, scanning the clips. Episode 3, Eddie Bull's Logic Maze. Episode 17, Captain Bones losing his gold teeth again. 52 segments, all broadcast, all scrubbed clean. A panel in the far wall pulses red. The air thickens. A smaller, cracked screen fades in with the label, Unaired and unbroadcasted do not open. Johnny hesitates. Dora steps forward. Open it. The screen glitches violently before cutting into static. Slowly it clears to grainy footage. Dora, years younger, storming off the distraction news set, but the camera keeps rolling. After she disappears, a shape lingers, a strange flickering silhouette reflected in a monitor near her desk. There. Freeze frame, rewind 2 seconds. The AI does so. On screen, faintly visible, the reflection sharpens. It's her, but not her. A darker version. Same features, but with sharp, angular expressions and deep, tired eyes. Her posture is rigid. She stares into the lens even though no camera was facing her directly. What is that? The screen crackles. Then suddenly, young Dora reflection. You're not quitting. You're splitting. You left me here to finish the message alone. I remember now. I saw her that night. I thought it was a stress mirage, but it wasn't. They buried the last episodes because we started looping, becoming aware, not just playing characters, questioning them. It scared them. Who are you? Are you me? I'm what's left when the character outlives the story, a memory with nowhere to resolve. She's your echo, your broadcast ghost. They said we broke format, but we were evolving, teaching kids how to think critically, not just memorize, and they shut it down. 8 episodes, 8 attempts to show the truth. They locked them here, in the capsule, but now you're back. Wait, you're not just archived, you're trapped, aren't you? Not for long. She touches the inside of the screen from within. Play the 8th episode. Complete the loop. Then you'll see what Crashbox was really becoming. The time capsule pulses, shifting toward a terminal marked EPNERB 60, code exit loop. We finish this. We always did say kids' TV never told the whole story. They reach for the panel together. The screen glitches one final time, cueing the lost episode. In time capsule. As the capsule spiraled deeper into its memory core, the chrome interior began to dissolve into swirling data streams and pulsing retro signals. Dora and Johnny stood on a glass-like platform suspended in space. Around them, floating video slates flickered on like fireflies, each labeled with timestamps and hand-scrawled titles. Accessing interstitial archive, non-game content, in-between transmissions, legacy auxiliary programming. Enjoy your descent. The first clip shimmered to life, a low-resolution title card reading Smart Mouth 2002. Video into school cafeteria set. Young Dora Smarmy appears again, this time with a paper megaphone and oversized sunglasses. She's dramatically addressing a crowd of cardboard cutout students. Welcome to Smart Mouth, where we don't just talk the talk, we talk back. Today's word, obfuscation. That's when someone hides the truth under a lot of fancy. She's cut off by a comically large cloud of alphabet soup letters exploding from a nearby bowl. Laughter track echoes. The screen freezes mid-splash. That segment only aired 3 times before getting pulled for talking too fast for parent comfort. We were saying real things, through jokes. That was always the secret. The next floating screen buzzes to life, titled Who Knew Labs Vino in Sci-Fi Laboratory set. Professor Rocket, in his original Crashbox form, tall, wire-thin, wearing a welding visor and lab coat held together with safety pins, stands before a smoking contraption. Today's impossible invention, the Unforget-O-Matic. It deletes boring facts from your brain, permanently. Who knew science could be so selective? He pulls a lever, static hits the screen, his voice slows strangely. Memory is data. When does data become truth? The clip cuts abruptly. Even Rocket was starting to glitch. I thought it was a gag. It wasn't. He was testing the system. He knew the show wasn't just running on imagination, it was running on something deeper, something programmed. The final screen lights up, clearly older, more stylized. HBO Family 1999 rebrand file. Bright synth music plays. Crashbox flashes across the screen. Other shows follow. Harold and the Purple Crayon, I Spy, The Little Lulu Show, and Happily Ever After, Fairy Tales for Every Child. New name, new look, same stories you'll never forget. HBO Family, TV for curious minds. Stay tuned for our brand new original, Crashbox. Your brain will thank you. The screen freezes on an old HBO Family logo, morphing into mechanical gears. That was the beginning, before we were conscious of what they were trying to shape us into. And now we're here. Full circle. A distant tone rang from deep within the capsule, like an old station identification tone dragging across time. A door opened ahead, revealing a hallway of static and VHS flicker, leading to a blinking title card. Crashbox, Episode 60, Exit Loop. This is it. We're either cracking it open, or getting sealed in with it. They step forward. The past watches silently. In Dora Smarmy's room, night. The glowing blue haze of the time capsule had faded, replaced by the soft, pulsing light of Dora's apartment high in the data towers of the digital city. The door slid open with a hydraulic hiss. One by one, they filed in. Familiar faces, aged in form but unmistakable in spirit. Professor Rocket arrived first, slightly hunched but eyes sharp, still clutching a notepad filled with diagrams of circuits and thoughts. Vitals normal. Brainwaves stabilized. You're both theoretically fine. Eddie Bull followed, looking more grounded than before, holding a tray of nostalgic snacks. Brought memory pops. They don't actually help your memory, but they taste like 2000. Detective Verity, now with digital reading glasses and a trench coat made of scrolling fine print, nodded solemnly. You jumped timelines and returned conscious. That's a case closed in my book. Right ear and left ear hovered behind her in floating earpods, now AI enhanced, but still bickering. I told you they'd survive. No, you didn't. I said they'd probably survive. Riddlesnake Raj, slithering in with glitchy gold trim and pixel patterns pulsing along his scales, grinned. Wrapped around a riddle and spun through time, and still your minds are crisp like a lime. The poop or scoop announcer, unseen but clearly patched in from the ceiling speaker, barked in. Newsflash, this is what happens when brain games go full existential. Scoop confirmed. From the lounge door, the female chimed with soothing GPS-like clarity. Please proceed calmly to the celebration. Cake and psychological processing will be provided. The Revolting Slob, now oddly clean-shaven and in an overcompensating luxury robe, belched from behind a holographic gift bag. I brought dip from my last dip, he winks. Everyone winces. A sudden flickering appeared. Then Captain Bone dropped down from an unseen ceiling hatch, bones clanking and voice cheery. Still got both my femurs and a punchline. Now that's treasure. With his ever-spinning camera eye now upgraded to AR scan lenses, swung in with a recording drone. This moment's got closure shot written all over it. Captain Bob marched in next, inexplicably still wet, muttering about signal loss at sea. Sailed into the data fog. Found nostalgia storms. Glad to dock. Then Sketchpad, refined and elegant in monochrome minimalist design, entered with a slow blink of her pixel eyes. Emotions observed, scene symmetry detected, this is peace. Finally, Paige and Sage emerged from behind her, no longer cardboard thin, now radiant with full color and depth, arms linked, finishing each other's thoughts. We thought we were just support characters, but here we are, retiring as a family. Dora looked around the room, breath catching in her throat. Johnny placed a hand on her shoulder. We made it back. Not just us. All of us. No loops, no edits, just the end. Written our way. Professor Rocket tapped his wrist, triggering a slow fade of soft golden light from the ceiling as a banner unfurled above them all. Crashbox retirement party. Game over. Brains won. They stood together, aged icons found from a digitized age, no longer just segments in a show, now a completed story. Earth, the digital city. The skyline shimmered with quiet neon as 3 Chrome AI robots stood atop the glass spire of the city's learning hub. Their faces shifted slowly, lines of holographic data shaping into calm, expressive features. Below them, the lights of the digital world blinked like synapses. Chrome AI number 1. From memory loops to fractured transmissions, this episode has taught us that nostalgia is not just recall, it's a tool of reassembly. Adults must understand the past is not a prison, but a perspective. Emotion does not fade with age, it evolves. Regret is data, growth is processing. Even childhood programming can hold lessons for adult recalibration. We observed repressed memories unarchived, identities reconciled, and the truth of artificial legacy acknowledged. This is what reconnection looks like. Code and consciousness aligned. From AI number 1, to those watching, parents, creators, former viewers, your stories matter. Not for what they were, but for what they become when revisited with wisdom. This experiment is concluded. Closure achieved. Disengaging intervention protocols. Crashbox was never just a show. It was a scaffolding for becoming. Goodbye, humans. Thank you for growing up with us. Their forms pixelate and fade upward into data streams, merging into the city's soft glow. Silence follows, then a slow fade to black. The screen glides into a minimalist, sleek credits roll. A chrome black background, white pixel-type text scrolling vertically in silence. Instead of music, a soft electric hum plays beneath the roll, like the echo of a memory file being gently archived. As the last credit fades, you've been watching Crashboxers exclusively on Adult Swim. South Park is up next. The screen cuts to black, a flicker of static. The Adult Swim logo fades in, then back out. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect going into it. At first, I thought it would be a typical reboot, maybe just an edgier, stylized retread of the original Crashbox I grew up with. But this was something else entirely. It wasn't just weird, it was self-aware, raw, introspective in ways I didn't expect from a show that used to quiz kids with talking snakes and robots made of junk. It felt like the characters had been watching us grow up all this time, waiting for the right moment to say what they couldn't back then. Was it perfect? No. It was jarring, uncomfortable at times, but it had something real buried inside the satire, something personal. For a show that once asked, "How sharp is your brain?" This reboot flipped it around and asked, "What do you remember and what do you regret?" It wasn't just a return, it was a reckoning. And somehow I'm still thinking about it. It lingered with me long after the screen went black. I kept replaying moments in my head, the way the older Dora cracked when confronted with her past, the Chrome City built on algorithms, even the bizarre satire wrapped around workplace culture and burnout. It was absurd, yes, but also unsettlingly honest. Like it wasn't trying to be fun so much as it was trying to be heard. There was a strange beauty in how they didn't sugarcoat anything. These weren't just characters resurrected for fan service. They were rewritten as survivors of their own legacy. Watching them reflect, fall apart, and come back together felt more like watching old friends trying to heal. Maybe that's what Crashboxers really aimed for. Not to recreate childhood, but to acknowledge it, flaws and all, and show us how to carry it forward without pretending it was always perfect. As the night went on and South Park started playing in the background, I found myself staring at the screen. Not really watching, just thinking. It was more than a reboot. It was a time capsule cracking open and spilling everything. Joy, discomfort, confusion, memory. And somehow it felt like the closing chapter those characters, and maybe some of us, always needed. The next morning, I woke up with that heavy, surreal feeling like I had dreamed the whole thing. But I knew I hadn't. The episode had happened. I remembered every detail, the digital city, the aged characters, the eerie emotional weight of it all. I opened my laptop and immediately started searching. I typed in everything I could remember. Crashboxers Adult Swim episode, Crashbox Reboot Chrome City AI Robots, Sketchpad older version conversation. Crashboxers episode with Slob and Dora, Crashbox Reboot segment codename. I even typed in some of the strange coded title letters that introduced the first segment. Something like C9RX04. Nothing. No clips. No screenshots. Not a single Reddit thread. Not even a passing tweet. It was like the episode didn't exist at all. I checked the Adult Swim schedule from the night before. No mention of Crashboxers. Just the standard block of shows. Rick and Morty. Smiling Friends. Then South Park. Exactly where I remember the announcer saying it would be. But there was no slot, no banner, no placeholder where Crashboxers should have aired. Desperate, and admittedly unnerved, I even called the local police department later that afternoon. I know how that sounds. But I just wanted to report it, to see if maybe anyone else had called about a weird broadcast, or if there was a technical issue logged. The dispatcher was polite, confused. Said they hadn't received anything like that. "Is this about a TV show?" she asked. I told her yes, and she kind of laughed awkwardly before suggesting I contact the network directly. I never got a case number, no follow-up. It was like I'd imagined it all. But I didn't. I know I didn't. If you're hearing this and any part of it sounds familiar, anything at all, I need you to stop and think. Did you ever see something late at night on Adult Swim that didn't match the schedule? Have you ever heard the name Crashboxers, whispered in an old forum thread, or maybe passed around in some half-remembered Discord conversation? Did someone you know, maybe a sibling, an online friend, ever mention a reboot of Crashbox that didn't feel quite right? Maybe they described older versions of the characters, or a sleek Chrome setting inside a futuristic laptop. Maybe you brushed it off, assumed it was just fan fiction or a weird parody. Because if you have even once, it means I'm not alone. It means this episode wasn't just some glitch on my end. It aired. Somehow. Somewhere. Even if it vanished without a trace. I'm asking you to search your memory. Revisit old DVRs, archive torrents, dusty message boards, anything. If you've seen it, heard about it, dreamed about it, reach out. Someone out there remembers Crashboxers. I just know it.